Are you looking to save some time as an auto body technician or a painter? Let me tell you, some things just don't need prime, guys. Some things just need a little bit of sealer on them, and today I'm going to show you how it's done. Is your painter completely anal about things and needs some primer over every little bare metal spot there is? I mean, over filler, I get it. Over some little minor, tiny paint crack that you sanded out with 600, I don't think it needs it. Let me show you what I'm working with right now. Okay, so we have a little repair on the front of this. I dollied it out. I got it perfect, actually. It's not even needing any filler. It was just kinked over just a little bit. I dollied the top out, hit it with some 600, and I'm just gonna throw some sealer over it. Had a little stone chip right there that I'm gonna get in my blend. We're just blending within this fender. So once I get this bad boy in the booth, I'll show you what I got going on. See you then. All right, move some stuff around. Now we're in the booth, everybody. I just want to say how comical it is, how many Priuses we've worked on in the past couple months. It's been insane. Man, I swear, that phone won't ring the whole time that the secretary's here. The minute she leaves, it rings off the hook. Anyways, let's get back out to the booth here. All right. So I guess while we're going to go ahead and tape this up, we're going to talk about painters and body men relations, because like I said in the beginning, guys, this is the whole ordeal. What do you guys think? And I've been in both shoes, and I understand where both of them are coming from. When you have a little buster like that or a little spot like that, I don't believe it's necessary that you need to sit there and put primer on it and block it out. There's absolutely no reason, especially if the painter is going ahead and priming using a sealer on a bumper or whatever on the hood, that he can't take that extra time and throw the body man a bone. Man, I used to work with a painter that was like that. Wanted everything primed. Didn't matter what kind of body work it was or anything. Wanted everything primed. Remember one time I had UV putty that was supposed to be like a combi putty, but it was a primer. It was basically a spreadable primer, just like combi putty or similar products like that. And I said, it was on a hinge on a Jeep, I believe. And they said, well, why isn't there any primer on that? I said, hey, it does have primer on it. It's a primer in itself. Why don't you just spray a little sealer over it? And he chewed my ass and said that it was up to him what products got to be put on the car, blah, 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 even though he ordered the putty. I don't know if he just didn't understand how the product worked. It's whatever. My point is, when you're a flat rate technician, and I'm not a flat rate technician anymore, but when you are a flat rate technician, it's all about working together and throwing each other a bone once in a while. Hey, I really appreciate you untaping my car. It wasn't your responsibility to do that. It's about you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, And that's how it should be. Not, a dictator painter that's making all the money in the shop and expects the techs just to suffer and do all the work. Because I hate to say it, most of the freaking painters out there, that's how they are. But you know what? That's up to you guys. That's up to the techs to get on top of that, to make a difference. That's why I make these videos. That's why the podcast is coming soon. It's all up to you guys. If you aren't going to your boss, the manager, and saying, hey, I don't agree with this, that I work twice as hard as the damn painter, and the painter makes all the hours. And then he wants to cry and whine when he doesn't get a 0.2 on something because blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm here to tell you that's your own fault. That's your own fault that you don't take the initiative and make something happen. And like I said, we're going to be talking a lot more stuff about, like this in our auto body podcast, and I plan on bringing other painters, other technicians in just to talk about everything. Because I believe that it's up to the techs to go to your manager, to go to the supervisors and say, hey, look, I don't agree with that. And I don't care. As a painter, I was a flat rate painter too. There's nothing wrong with that. But I threw my techs a bone. I helped them out. Said, hey, I'll take that out quick. Not a big deal. I'll pop that molding off. No big deal. Take the hour. Take the 0.2, whatever it is. My whole point is, don't let the painter dictate everything that goes on in the shop. Don't let anybody dictate. You guys are all working as a team in the shop. I don't care who you are. It's hard enough to make your hours sometimes as a tech, especially if it's a slow week, whatever. I mean, this goes both ways. Don't be an asshole as a tech either. So you got to just work together. Believe me, things work itself out. I've been in other shops that I've sat there and made 80 hours of flat rate time pretty consistently. And the reason is because the shop was working together. It wasn't divided. It wasn't a bunch of people arguing and whining who did what. And like I said, the primer, the primer on cars. When you are a painter, I believe that's your responsibility as a painter. I think that's part of the paint time, to prime all your work. Same time, I think after the painter primes it, the body man should come block it. It was his body work. So yeah, it's just little snidbits like that, guys, that really irritate me with shops. That's why I'm glad I'm in the position I am, partnering up with somebody, taking over a shop. I advise anybody that has issues like this and wants to be true and really take the initiative to make something happen of your own, I advise you go do it. Too many money-hungry shops out there getting all the work, and there's not enough techs out there to do it now. But I'm telling you, if you're an honest person looking to make a buck, you can find a good team. If you're gonna treat your people with fair, respectable values and treat them good, take care of them, make sure there isn't a painter dictator, a body man dictator in your shop that's getting all the hours, you know, you're gonna make out pretty good. So in my opinion, if you have the means, I strongly suggest trying to get your own shop. May seem impossible at first, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of body men out there that have their own shops that are getting older, they want to get out. That's kind of the situation I'm in here. I mean, they just want out of the business. And there's nothing wrong with that. The guy I'm partnered to, he's 66 years old. He wants to get out. So, all right, enough of a little TED Talk, guys. We're gonna get right into these tips and tricks and how you can do this here. How you can spray a little sealer on there, blend it out, and keep rolling. Stick around. There he is, the Mr. Westphal himself. Goodness gracious, I'm about sick of playing second. There's something wrong with this guy. All right, everybody, so before we move on to sealer, we gotta lay some adhesion promoter down on our bumper. Sit here, talk for a minute. We're gonna get this Prius sprayed. Been in and out of the office 500 times for phone calls, so that's been amazing. Anyway, putting our 1K adhesion promoter on. One Choice makes this. Pretty good stuff. All right, I'm gonna go throw this adhesion promoter on, guys. I'll be right back. All right, we got everything all tacked off. Here's a little bonus tip for everybody. These things are a lifesaver, especially for raw plastic. I like the Dents Fix, the statics amp. Works pretty good. I run it around 30 PSI. I think like 25, 30, somewhere in there. What you're gonna do is evenly go across everything. About a foot away. This eliminates all static electricity. It's been pretty dry the past couple days. I'm not sure why. Starting to get into spring here, eventually I hope. Just want to run it across the bumper before you throw your adhesion promoter at it. Make sure there's no hair or anything stuck to it. Alright, and it doesn't hurt to run it on the rest of your panels. Also will eliminate static off the edges of your plastic and all that, so. Then we'll get our adhesion promoter put on. Do a little clip of that. Then we'll get to the sealer. All right, it's that magical time. We're gonna mix up some sealer, guys. I'm gonna show you how it's done. So, like always, we're using Deltron DAS sealer. We're gonna use gray today. 30-30 hardener. Gonna give her a little spin. We'll fast forward. All right, so pretty much everybody, the sealer mixes up 3 to 1 to 1. It's like what we use all the time. Don't need a ton. We're gonna spot seal that fender in a couple little spots. We're gonna seal the hood, and we're gonna seal the bumper. So that is 3-part sealer, 1 part hardener, and 1 part reducer. And another thing painters can do too, and I don't think it's completely necessary, we're not getting anywhere close to our blend with this, guys, but you can over reduce your sealer a tad bit and it'll help melt it in. And a lot of guys will use that technique when they're not using a blender, which is fine. Everybody does it different. I'm not going to bother over reducing it. I can get it to lay pretty flat. A lot of guys will do that when they're inexperienced. Make sure their undercoat isn't laying too peely or whatever. But this DV1 usually does a pretty damn good job on laying sealer. But on top of that, it's going to be important to use the proper reducer. So if you're using the wrong reducer and it's drying too quick, before I knew what I was doing, I know it sounds crazy and stupid, but I used to use 85 reducer and everything. And that was a long time ago. And I'd wonder why my sealer was dry. My paint would never lay right. Color matches sucked. But it's all about the experience, guys. And don't listen to anybody that sits there and says that they never had issues. I don't care if somebody's went to school. There's no way you can retain all that information they teach you at school either. So whether you're going to a PPG class or, you know, a BOCES or whatever, it always comes down to the more you learn is going to be probably from the shop. So in life experience. But all right, guys, we're going to get right out here. All right, everybody, our adhesion promoter has flashed off. That's another important step. There is a window in an adhesion promoter. Not sure if everybody knows that. You don't want it too flashed off or it won't work properly. We're going to be spraying everything about 20 psi. Like I said, this is Deltron sealer. I'll show you how it's done, all right? So in our spots over here on our fender, remember I said we weren't going to prime it and block it because that's just nonsense. It's unnecessary. It's just a little spot. It's fine. I've never had an issue to come back with this kind of stuff. So the biggest thing is here, guys, is you're going to make sure you're not spraying paint this way. If you spray your paint that direction, you're going to get it in your blend. You're not going to be happy with your result because you won't get it to blend correctly. So the biggest thing is here is make sure you got the gun pointed this way. Be really easy on the trigger. There you go. That's all you need. And that sealer will lay completely flat. And also we're going to put a blender on it that's going to help melt it in even further. So, all right. gonna go let that sealer flash off, and we'll come back in with some color. All right, here's where most of the painters start crying and whining. Oh no, they got overspray over everywhere. Oh well, guess what? Yeah, you're not gonna get rid of that from the hood. I did come over a little bit far. It's not a huge deal, but you wanna make sure you tack and all that dry off. This is the painter's excuse why they don't wanna do what I just said. They don't want to do this because they don't want to seal anything because it's an extra step and they're not making as much money. Well, guess what? Now you do that, then you can melt everything in with your blender. Okay? What that's going to do, that's going to make it so your surface is nice, flawless when you're done. You're not going to have any edges where your sealer is or anything like that. A lot of guys use reducer for this. There's nothing wrong with that either. And a lot of it has to do with the paint system you're using. But in my opinion, I've always used the color blender to melt in the sealer, and it's always worked really well. Mostly because it already has reducer built in. So other than that, we're gonna go mix some color up. Okay, so while we're waiting for everything else to flash off and rock and roll on that, we're gonna mix our color up. This is a nice, really pretty blue. It's too bad that's got to go in this ugly Prius, but hey, I guess Priuses need color too. Should just paint them all white, you know, because, you know, the economy. Just kidding. That's what my goofy prepper just said the other day. He's like, you know, everybody's driving a Prius. It's got a motor. Wouldn't that hurt the economy? Yeah, it hurts the economy, all right. He meant to say the ecosystem. Funny, funny. Anyway, we got this stirred up pretty good. I gotta get my shaker permanently mounted over there. Don't mind the mess, everybody. I've been busy doing other things. I didn't even paint last week at all. I was tearing cars down, putting them together, welding. So it's just been a crazy week for me. I'm not just a painter. I'm also a manager. I'm also whatever needs to be done because Matt's the only one that can do most of it. So, which is okay. That's what I signed up for. Again, we're going to be putting a 95 reducer in it. It is a little warmer in the shop today. Outside, I think it's like 60. It's not bad. Man, I wish spring would come though, because it's still cold at night. What's crucial here is you want to make sure that your sealer is all flashed off really well. You go putting this base coat over it, what's going to happen, it's either going to do one of two things. It's either going to solvent pop really bad, which is horrible, you don't want that to happen, or it will die back. You'll get done clearing, you'll come in the next day, it'll look good the day before, you'll come in the next day and it'll all be dyed back where you put your color. So you got to make sure that sealer and other paints are all freaking flashed off. Your flash times are very important when it comes to painting. All right, let's get in there. All right, so it's gonna pretty much be the same idea. You don't want to spray your color this way if you're trying to blend within something. I did get overspray over here, I realize that, but it's not a huge deal. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So when I'm painting, I'm gonna bring it out, and I'm not gonna bring it out all the way, and you'll see how I blend this right in. right, since that flashed off pretty quick, everybody, I'll show you we still got more coverage here we got to do. We're going to bring it out just a little bit further, get some of that overspray that built up here all taken care of. Key is in these blend areas is you want to keep them wet. You don't want to stop, walk away for 20 minutes, and then come back. So this is how it's done, everybody. Blending quite enough. Alright, mixing up just enough for another coat. Alright, what I'm going to do here, just keep this solvent edge wet because I want to bring it out just a little further, make that blend flawless and invisible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of this color blender. I didn't clean my gun out, see that? There's like barely any color blender left in it. I'm going to just spray that over my edge here. What that's going to do, it's going to melt shit in. It's real light. Now I can come back, put my final coat of color on and still keep it in that fender. Get our ample coverage on everything and we should be good to go. Alright, that's blended out pretty decent. So now we're just going to flash this in with our final coat of color. Alrighty. All right, I'm not gonna bore everybody with putting 2 full coats on. There's no reason to film all of it. So I'm just gonna film the one. We'll speed it up through the clear coat process, let everybody check it out, and then I'll show everybody at the end how it turned out. All right, our blend turned out nice. Just did a little tack rag test, make sure that's not sand piled at all. All blended out nice, so we're gonna get to clearing. Look at that flawless blend. Looks great. Turned out great. Just remember, everybody, don't let your painter dictate the shop. Make sure you speak up. Make sure you get paid for what you do. I'm here to show you some tips and techniques and tricks that you can use to be a better flat rate technician, to make things go smoother. It just takes a little effort on everybody. So, hey everybody, if you like what you see, go check out this video right here. You go hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. This has been Murder to Finish.